this is Kirosho here. Yeah, my voice has slowly been trying to give out on me and trying to go away, so I just keep trying to drink water and drink stuff to try and help it, but that does not seem like it is helping it. Also, I have only been posting videos for 4 days. My voice is already gonna. I'm already gonna have a sore throat. My voice went to give out on me for a little bit, so that's fun. Especially since for my work, I basically have to talk to people for my job. So that is my headphones. So yeah, I'm just gonna try and upload this and another part. Actually, I was able to figure out certain ways to do this part, but it's gonna be a bit. If you try and think about it, because I said Deku was basically in a giant muscle suit that weighed 3,000 pounds, and he was able to move around in it fairly easy with one for all at around 50%. Then, if you think about it like that, like if you read into it, this isn't gonna make a lot of sense. So, yeah. Now then, we're at the tournament arc, and instead of using this picture, I ain't gonna be using this picture. Except this time, Zero. Actually, yeah, I can do that. Except this time, the big hands girl is actually replacing the sparkle French guy. Ugh, I hate this. I'm gonna drink water for a minute. Give me a second. Much better. Okay. The big hands girl is gonna be replacing the French guy, like how I stated in the last part, since he got knocked out of the tournament. I'm always gonna knock him out of the tournament because his quirk. It's useless if you keep having diarrhea. And I know that the quirk, and I know people don't really, well, not people don't really, a lot of people don't really think about quirks like how, not think about quirks. It's like, it's like how Deku uses one for all. If he were to he can't be a hero if he keeps breaking his arms. He also can't be a hero. You also can't be a hero if you keep crapping yourself. So that's fun. Anyway, what I plan for doing with this one is the fight with Shinso would go the same. He would break two of his fingers to snap out of it. Shiro would get knocked out. Uh, the tail guy would be replacing Kaminari. Well, actually, he'd be replacing the green-haired girl from 1B, and he would actually beat Kaminari because he can dodge him. The thing with May and Ida still happens, where she would forfeit after showing off her invention. The big hands girl would, since we've never seen her fight in the anime yet, I want to say she can probably beat Mina, because even if she would, she can just grow her hands up if she wanted to and start throwing them together, just like creating shockwaves to throw wind around. Because I know she did that during the forest training arc whenever they got attacked. So yeah, that will be how she beats Mina. She eventually claps her hands together. Whenever Mina would try and send acid flying her way and take her out like that. Now, here, Momo would actually do a lot better. Momo would create she would have to, during that brief intermission while everyone's watching each other's matches, uh, she would have actually known about Tokiyami's weakness, since she basically was talking about it on the team with Bakugo, about why he's not on the team with Bakugo and Todoroki, how Dark Shadow would get weaker. So she would create, I was gonna say glow sticks, but it's already the day. So she would create she'd create like plasma pistols and actually fire them at Tokiyami. And Dark Shadow would block all these, but she just keeps firing and firing and firing until she runs out of batteries on them, and she has to create another one. Now, by the time she's already unloaded most of the energy in these guns, because she would create like really powerful compacted batteries, so that's why she can continuously fire them instead of just having them be one shot. And after that, she would create a small plasma rifle and fire them at him, essentially weakening his Dark Shadow to the point where it would go back inside Tokiyami and she can just punch him out of the ring. Now then, these two would still have their regular bro down, small town bro down. These two, Ochako and Bakugo, I have not really talked about them in the series a lot. My what ifs. Oh, what the heck. Bakugo would have actually cared and somewhat have been an actual friend with Deku, but he would have been less mad that he has a new quirk. Or actually, he would just accept the fact that Deku said that his quirk enhanced his senses, and he found a way to the whole time he was training, he found a way to enhance his body. He would have accepted that and actually would have started training. And he was training during the 10 months and actually is a stronger version of Bakugo. So he would take her down. Now then, Todoroki versus Deku. Yeah, you all know what's about to go down. Todoroki shoots pillar after pillar, giant pillars of ice at Deku, and Deku just with full cowling at 50% would smash all these icebergs away. And whenever Todoroki would try and get up close with Deku, because he's just trying to avoid physical combat, so he would actually try and get close to Deku and actually freeze him by doing all that, but he realizes he can't. Whenever his body does get covered in frostbite, Deku would have told him that he needs to use the rest of his power because he's only going at probably 75%. He can really go up to 75% of one for all, but comfortably and physically, he can only control 55 to 50% without putting any physical strain on his muscles before they start aching and ripping apart, and eventually leading to his broken bones. So now, after that, if people don't understand how I'm doing that, basically I'm saying that One for All can work like the Kaioken, but no one really thinks. I've never really seen a lot of YouTubers do that. How Deku could use higher percentages of One for All, other than, oh yeah, that's fun. My toe's creeping up. Ow. Other than breaking his hand or just using a number they say for him. Deku would say he's only going about 75% and you're going at about 50. You're still losing. Todoroki would say, "How dare you hold back against me?" And Deku would just laugh at him and said, "If anything, you're holding back against me. I told you Okay. I told that that sounded weird. My bed squeaked. How dare you? I just told you I'm going at 75% and you're only using 50. You're holding back. Now use your full power against me. Todoroki would be taken aback by us saying he's not using his father's side. He's not using his father's power. Deku would scream at Todoroki his whole "it's your power" speech, but saying, "Whoever said it was your father's? It's your damn quirk, now use it. And quit holding back." And whenever Deku says this, he actually does have like a smirk on his face. Because he's never fought with. Oh crap. Yeah, no, he's I don't know if I put him up. Yeah, no, okay. I was gonna say I don't know if I put him up against Todoroki and the heroes versus villains, but that's for the other part. How do other YouTubers not get that confused? Because I nearly did. It's probably because I retconned it, that part. But anyway, get that hair off. Okay. Um. Okay. Yeah, that's where I was at. He's actually got a very big smirk on his face, and people are looking at him. And some heroes are commenting that it seems like he actually does enjoy combat. And Aizawa would explain that him and one of our other students in Class 1A actually are the two strongest because they always train together. And he says that if they're not training, they're learning. So they embody what it means to be a hero. And he would also explain that Deku is actually a master martial artist and that he knows how to fight in over, I think Daredevil knows 15 to 20 different fighting styles, if not more. He would just say he'd say the number that Daredevil can fight at, how many fighting styles he can fight in. Every hero would be surprised to hear how high that number is. Todoroki, he would say, "Wait, you've only shown off a fourth of those." Deku would just say that he's never really he's constantly holding back to prevent himself from hurting people on purpose. Now, fire everything you have at me. He would do this, and Deku would actually. He would have been permitted to wear his goggles, and he still does have that whole. I was gonna say one of these characters' hairstyles, kinda, but he has more of an Ida hairstyle, but his hair is slicked back and shaved on the sides. I hope you know what I mean by that. And whenever Todoroki does do this against Deku, Deku would have stayed in the ring, but after that, he would come up out of the rubble. One of his arms would be bleeding. One of his eyes are bloodshot red, and he keeps struggling to stand back up off the ground. Midnight would try and call the match, but Deku would just tell her no. He can still stand. Now, where is Todoroki? Midnight would explain that she's not calling the match for him. He's calling it for Todoroki because he is currently outside of the ring. Barely. He's after that. Wait. Todoroki was still in the ring in canon, so Todoroki he is still standing in the ring, and he sees Deku is still conscious, and Deku cannot use his left hand because that's the one that's bleeding, and it's actually not in its socket. Todoroki would tell him that he cannot fight like that, and Deku would grab his left hand by his elbow, and snap it upwards back into its socket. And whenever he did this, every hero saw this, and Deku would then begin to move his hand and get it more comfortable, then he'd pop it back into place even more. All Might would just be sitting there in the stands thinking, what have I done? What have I done? Now, Todoroki, whenever he saw this, he would have started laughing at Deku, saying that he really is the strongest. And right as he goes to take a step toward Deku to fight at him, he would fall over and pass out from exhaustion. And Endeavor would have seen that Todoroki actually pushed him quite a bit far. And Endeavor would have actually come up to Deku and tell him that it's a good thing you pushed him that far. Now he can complete his mission. And Todoroki would tell him to piss off. Deku would vulgarly insult Endeavor. And yeah, that happens. Now then, Deku versus. Okay, the big hands girl, like I said, since she replaced the green haired girl, would beat Ida because the whole sound waves can actually knock Ida off balance and make his quirk useless if he cannot even stay on his feet. So she would beat Ida. Momo would beat the tail guy by just basic martial arts and stuff she's learned from Deku. She and him would have actually nodded and bowed at each other and taken stances. And he's using probably Ikaido. And everyone's watching as these Momo is moving like water. She's letting her movements just flow and come out naturally. While this guy is over here struggling for his life. And he just looks so mechanical in his movements. He looks like a piston because as soon as he does what you expect him to do, he always has to move back to defend. And Momo would actually crank it up by switching from Judo, Jinjutsu, Capoeira, and Eskrima. She would essentially overpower him and grab him by a nerve bundle and take him out of the ring. And what I mean by grab him by a nerve bundle is she's attacking most of the vital points in his body that can immediately be healed. She's going for kneecaps with certain fighting styles. She's going for elbows. She's going for nerve clusters. I think it's 178 is the maximum amount of vital points you have in your body. I might be wrong. I know it's somewhere around 178, if not higher. Anyway, after she would beat him, it would be Bakugo versus her. Now then, it would be Bakugo versus Hiroshima. That fight would go differently, as in Bakugo would win. Well, I think he already wins, but he'd win more. And yeah. So let's see. Momo versus Bakugo win. Deku versus the Big Hands girl. Okay, I do have a lot of time. Now then. Everyone would have commented on how that those movements that the girl were doing, they seem similar to something of what Deku was doing. And what the tail guy were doing. she would explain that she is Momo Yaoyorozu, and she got a recommendation, but after meeting Deku, she refused it and earned her way into UA. After that, she's been training with him every day for the last year at so many intense points and with so many martial arts masters that she is almost, if not around the same skill level of Deku at some of these martial arts. And this would actually kind of surprise a lot of people and impress them, but they would have seen some of the stuff she would come up with. So, Deku, not Deku. Um, yeah, okay, Deku versus the Big Hands girl. They would get into the ring and bow like before, like I said. And Deku actually did get healed by Recovery Girl, so he can still fight. But he decides that since he honored the tail guy with martial arts, it would only be fair to give her the same courtesy. Courtesy. So he would actually square up against her in another fighting stance, and she would actually would like to see where Deku stands. Because she never fought Deku. So she would say that this is going to be fun. Deku would agree and immediately rush her, actually blitzing her and surprising her, and attacking her. Now then, I don't know exactly what Japanese fighting style she knows, but since her quirk is basically almost a kimono, uh, crap, I'm really tired. Uh, it's like a summer dress. It's like a traditional dress. Deku would actually be fighting her in one of the same fighting styles, and anytime she switches any of them up, he would switch to hers, and she's actually keeping up with Deku. And Deku would tell her that he doesn't really even need to use his quirk because he is a black belt in every one of these. She would tell him that that may be true, but even then, you're over halfway out of stamina. How are you gonna win? Deku would tell her that one thing he's done for the last 10 years is actually train his body, his mind, and yeah, as soon as he says that he's been training for 10 or 9 years, however long it's been, she would realize she's kind of boned and get booted out of the ring with a solid kick straight to the gut. And as soon as this does happen, Deku would pick her up and take her to Recovery Girl. Momo would get kind of jealous and yell at Deku. Then she would blush in embarrassment as she realized that she's kind of revealed a little bit of a crush on him. Everyone in 1A is laughing and smiling and talking about this, saying, "Oh, so you finally revealed that you finally told him you have a crush. So you guys are a couple," is what she would say. And she would blush and tell, "No, no, they're not a couple. They're not dating yet." And then someone would chime in with "Yet?" question mark. You know what I mean? But I can't really. How? You know what I mean? I can't really do my question of voice, or I can't really put emphasis in my voice right now because I feel like if I tried, I'd just sneeze. Speaking of sneeze, yeah. So after that, she would body Bakugo and let's see. Okay, yeah. I'm gonna go over the rest of the sports festival and their hero 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 license. That's not right. Their internships. There we go. In the next part. So have a good day, everyone. Bye.